Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here. And let's wake up the football guys. Wake up, guys. Wake up. Yeah, it's nice having that working again. I do need to go up there and dust it, though, because, well, let's face it, our Super Bowl trophy up there is getting a little dusty. And I'm hoping that in 81 days, 11 hours and 27 minutes and 50 seconds, that we will start working on getting the number 6 ring. I know it's been a long time coming. But I got to tell you, I feel good about what this team has done this year. I really actually feel good. And the fact that we don't have, at the moment, any of the holdout or major distractions that we've had in the past. Last year, of course, it was D-Law, first part of the summer and stuff, and wondering, would he be ready for week 1? Then it was, of course, Zeke Elliott, who was working out in Cabo and everything else. These are things that affected the season. And, of course, we had Jason Garrett, which always affected the season. But it seems like things are kind of falling in place, at least for the Cowboys, where, regardless of what you may think about Dak Prescott, the fact that he went ahead and signed the franchise tag and won't be holding out, because he could have waited. He could have waited. He could have waited till just about the beginning of the season, signed it then, and then gone into the season. Now, I think it would have personally hurt him because having not been there in training camp, he'd have the rust, and, the season might not be as good, of course, and with all the new pieces and things, the new coaching staff, that you would sabotage the season. Make no mistake about it. If it ends up being that Dak Prescott plays on the franchise tag, expect to see him have a monster year because, generally speaking, more times than not, when people are in that prove-it year, because they're trying to get paid, for some reason those numbers go through the roof. Take Jason Hatcher, for example. Jason Hatcher had never had more than 5 sacks in a season. Most of the time it was like 3 or 4 range. But in his last year of his deal with the Cowboys, it jumped up to 11 sacks. Wow. In which case he went on to the Washington Redskins, got like a $26 or $27 million deal for 2 years, and went right back down to 3 sacks. So, and I'm not saying that players play harder because it is a contract year. It just seems that way, that those end up being the best years that the players have. And if that is the case, when you look at Robert Quinn last year, when you look at Randall Cobb, both of those guys, prove-it years, played really well, went on elsewhere and got paid. And so when you think about some of the Dallas Cowboys that we have basically in that prove-it year, we've got, Xavier Woods, we got Jordan Lewis, we got Awuzie. These guys are on prove-it years as well as possibly Dak Prescott. So hopefully, if that holds true, you'll see these guys stepping up and hopefully having a monster season. But the fact that Dak Prescott signed the deal, it didn't really, money-wise, it wasn't going to change. He was going to be franchise tag or long-term deal, one way or the other. Unless you look at it and say, well, if he held out, it's conceivable that the Cowboys could say, we were sending the offer, you're a free agent, and nobody's going to be able to sign you to a deal that you want at this point. It'd be best to just sit out. And so for Dak, he figured, I better be the team player. I'll be the right guy. I'll be the leader, and so on. Now, some people are saying that this ends up changing the Jamal Adams situation. Well, technically, it really doesn't, because the money was already baked in. Whether he had signed it or not, because he was franchise tag, it was already part of our salary cap, which leaves us with $11 million. Now, here's the interesting thing is that $11.2 million is already taking into consideration money, for example, our rookies. CeeDee Lamb is counting as $610,000 on our salary cap. Andy Dalton is in there. Let's see, Greg Zuerlein. There's 1.8 for Greg Zuerlein. That's crazy for a kicker. You got Joe Looney, Aldon Smith. Let's see, Tavon Diggs. Where's our next rookie? Morris Clady, Tristan Hill. Tristan Hill's $1.1 million. Wow. Talk about being dirt cheap. Neville Gilmore, $610,000 as well. It's amazing. $610,000. So they've already baked in their money for the rookies in this. Now, $11 million. Technically, Jamal Adams, his cap number for this year is $3.5 million. So you could fit him underneath right now with that. However, you don't want to be too close on the salary cap. And that's where it behooves the Dallas Cowboys to actually get a long-term deal done, because you can backload the money, the signing bonus, the guaranteed money. All those things can be played around with. You can give yourself some cushion. Like, for example, let's say hypothetically that next year the salary cap goes down, goes way down, and the NFLPA don't work out a way that it's not Armageddon as far as the salary cap. They're trying to figure out a way that we can still keep the salary cap continuing to go up, looking at future earnings, which I think they'll end up getting that done, because it doesn't help anybody to go ahead and gut the cap. Because when you look at, let's say, the Eagles, for example, they have currently scheduled for $265 million in cap for next year. Yeah. They're already going to have to gut or change or restructure some contracts. If it drops down, say, $40 million or something like that, you're talking about half of their roster needing to be restructured or cut. The NFL's not going to do that. But hypothetically, if it does, having Dak with that deal gives you the flexibility that if we need to go ahead and borrow money against future earnings, we can do that to save the space. So, in other words, it's better for the Cowboys to get the deal done. And you can say that, no, you're not a Cowboy fan. I am a Cowboy fan. I'm a Dak Prescott fan as well. I don't know why you can't be both, because you need to keep the money as low as possible on your cap. It's simple math. So that's where we are. Now, the good news is, after going on both sides of the equation and trying to figure out if there's going to be a season, not going to be a season, baseball has now finally got an agreement, and they're going to start on the 21st. So I guess that's next Wednesday, practicing. So at least that's going to start. We'll see, how that's going to go, because that's starting 28 days before we open up training camp. The scary part on this is now, I believe we have 9 teams that now have players that have tested positive for coronavirus. And I'm sure that there will be, basically everybody will have people who have tested positive for coronavirus. I think at this point it's unavoidable. When you see that Texas has 5,000 new cases the last 24 hours, that Texas and Arizona and Florida and some of these other states down here are becoming the new New York, that we're going to be knee deep in it. The question is how severe will it be with the players, and how can they mitigate it as much as possible? I wish I had the answers for that. I wish I had a vaccine or a cure or something, or some good news on that. But this is not something that's just going to just magically disappear and go away. And it's something that we're going to have to figure out the best course of action, not just for sports, but for all of us to be able to function in this new world. I'm hopeful that you haven't been touched by corona, that you don't know anybody who's been affected by the coronavirus. But the reality is, a lot have, and a lot more will. So things will continue to be different for a while. But hopefully we'll at least have football Sundays to be able to talk about. So that's where we are, guys. Get ready to go here, do some work in the workshop here. I got to finish building this bar, and I got to finish doing the new racket stuff on there. Got a couple orders we got to get out, and I'm thankful that I've got something to do. And then tomorrow, weather permitting, I'm actually going to go back down to Waynesboro and do a little bit of work on the red brick house and start working on getting the building permit, so that way you can really start getting to work on that. So as always, friends, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, it doesn't work. And I will see you later.